Hey beauty fam, I just wanted to come on really quick and show you some makeup that I recently bought as in the end of the year that are products that are coming in now. An Hermes lipstick, new to me, a Mercier blush in Bellini, and trying on some of the products that I'm trying to project pan this year. So if you're interested, then keep watching. Beauty fam, I thought I'd come on and show you some of the new products I ended up getting. I ordered them actually at the end of December before I started my low buy, no buy, and they're just trickling in now in the end of January in the new year. So I thought I'd come on and then show you some of these new products. As part of my low buy, no buy, I'm also doing this new project where I actually inventoried all of my makeup, particularly my eyeshadows, because I wanted to see actually how many I actually have in my collection. Ended up having a total of 97. And I'm really glad I didn't go over 100 because I think I psychologically might have been like a little bit about that, but it ended up being 97 by the time I completed it. And then last week, a new palette came in the mail. I ended up ordering at the end of December was this Adept Cosmetics palette, and I haven't opened it yet, so I'll do a dedicated video for that. The reason I ended up doing my inventory was not only to see what I actually have in my collection, was part of my declutter video, which I will put up here. It was also a way to figure out a way to shop my stash and use more of actually what I have. And I find that when I'm really wanting new palettes, I actually have not had the practice of thinking back on my actual current makeup collection of, is this actually dupable, or am I just getting swept up in the YouTube, social media hype of something shiny, something new? And of course, you know, to be honest, it's always really fun to buy things. It really is. And they've actually done studies on that. When we actually click the button to purchase things, there's endorphins that kick in. So, you know, just really trying to be mindful about what I have already and what I'm consuming, that all of this is a hobby. It's not a need. It's not you know, my basic needs. It's definitely a hobby. It's something that I love. It is my self-care and my part of my mental health is part of the beautifying experience, and seeing people that look like me and reflect like of my skin tone, and that part of that is affirming. But part of it is I also don't want to perpetuate this culture of consumption, which is really hard. I know some of us struggle with that in the beauty space. At the same time, it's fun, it's makeup. I mean, we're literally like painting our face, and generations and cultures have done this through millennia time immemorial. So part of it, I kind of see that part of is like coming into myself and my beauty and what my beauty standards are. I didn't grow up seeing people that look like me in the mainstream media to reflect back to me our standards of beauty. And in the Philippines, beauty contests are really popular, but they actually really tend to covet people who are very light skin, mestiza, that one, basically the more white adjacent you look, the more coveted and maganda that you're beautiful that you're seen. So I'm also trying to decolonize that around beauty as well. And that's why celebrating and really looking at content creators of color with different hues, undertones, and body shapes and abilities is really important for me, part of my process. So that is all to say that I just really want to use more of my makeup. Part of that spreadsheet, I'm going to try to do this for the first couple of weeks and see how it fares. I have my eyeshadows listed on an Excel sheet, and I'm trying to figure out maybe every Wednesday or every Sunday, I will rotate the palettes and pick a random number generator online, and whatever number that the computer picks between 0 and 98 palettes, I will pick those 2 palettes to dedicate to using at least once that week. So I started that project, and my random number generator ended up picking the Sydney Grace, Mel Thompson, Tiny Marvels palette, and the Chanel Blurry Green palette. Pretty different palettes. I mean, this is an indie brand, And a lot of you know who Mel Thompson was, rest in power queen. And this is an indie brand, very colorful, whereas Chanel Luxury Beauty, very understated colors, and both beautiful in their own right. So it was really interesting to have to pull these two. I found myself gravitating to this palette much more on the daily, just because the color story on Tiny Marvels is just so fun. I used to think of this as a summer spring palette, and what's so great about this, I read 1 week into it, and what's so great about this random number generator, I don't need to call it a project, the project Use My Stash, is that it's forcing me to use palettes I don't necessarily think I would pull for during this season. So we're in winter now. I would normally think this is a spring or summer shade, a palette. And so I ended up just doing looks based on whatever I wanted to do, not based on what I think a color story should be on for a season. So I've been definitely gravitating for this. I am falling in love again with this Tiny Marvels palette, and moreover, Sydney Grace is an independent brand. I love the shimmers and the mattes that Sydney Grace creates because they're so easy to blend, but you get the color. A lot of palettes that I like, I might be attracted to them, but they are actually pigmented, like pigments. And so they're a little bit lower quality. They do tend to irritate my eyes. So I have very sensitive eyes, and I don't find this to be the case for Sydney Grace. And the fact that the mattes and the shimmers have little to no fallout is a really big deal for me, because my aging eyelids are just not having it. Like, for example, and I'm just being really honest, like one of my favorite eyeshadows that are made are from Pat McGrath, and they're just glorious in their curation, the color, the theme, the packaging, but the glitter shades have mad fallout, and I'm trying to reconcile that of, you know, it's beautiful and then they're starting to irritate my eyes. So I struggle with that. This does not irritate my eyes, and this is why I love the companies of Viseart and really starting to fall in love with Sydney Grace more, just because it's all of those package deals of, you know, the package deal of having high quality mattes and shimmers that don't irritate my eyes, and they're not quite luxury beauty, but a little bit more on they're not drugstore, they're like kind of mid high end in the spectrum of beauty, the beauty community for prices. So moreover, it's just a really great product and really beautiful look. So I'm going to close this today, but this has been a fun, I mean, I'm in week 1 of this project. I'm already like refalling in love with my palettes. And that's what I'm hoping this project this year will do, is it'll reignite my love for certain palettes, because what I know a lot of us do is that we get these palettes and we're like, it's the favorite palette at the moment, and then a new palette comes on and we don't use it, the older ones, as much. It'll also show me what palettes I actually don't like anymore. So maybe then it's time to either move on from that palette to donate it, or just get rid of it if it's older. So that's my hope of this project. So I did not reach for the blurry green because I was reaching for Tiny Marvels every day, but I'm on my last day of this week of the random generator project. I got to come up with a better name. So I reached for, I'm doing the blurry green because it's a second palette I picked. I saw that some people are doing 3 palettes sometimes, but I don't think I can get through 3 palettes within a week. I just have too many palettes. I have like too many options in there and I get overwhelmed. What I want to do is actually combine this blurry green with a new product I have not really featured on YouTube yet. And it's a new company, a newish, an independent company called Phytosurgence. And they are based in Vancouver, BC, Canada. They are POC owned and LGBTQ plus owned. So I love that about that. And if you're new to my channel, I primarily focus on luxury beauty, but I really do try to use in my dollars on buying really great independent women or POC or queer owned products that are in the beauty space. So it hit all the marks, and really look at this, it's so cool. So I ended up getting about 4 of these cream pots. I'm sorry, I forget the name of what they're called, but I mean, they're just cream eyeshadows. And this is, these are called Florescience, and it's based on Phytosurgence about plants. So this is supposed to be like the leaves of the plants. And so this is Velvet Leaf. And one of my favorite colors is green, and I have a green eyeshadow series that you can find. And so this is the one that I've used the most. You can tell I'm starting to pan it. And it's this beautiful kind of grungy green. It's basically like the color I'm wearing today. So I want to grab this as my base color. My eyelids are already primed and prepped. I have my base down of my makeup. I am also, in a different video, I will showcase the makeup that I pulled aside during my declutter to project pan this year. So part of my project pan is this Suqqu cream foundation in 35, and I pulled that today. I pulled my Chanel Le Beiges water tint, and I am almost done with it. So far I'm doing well on project panning. So that was kind of a cheat because I was almost done. But you know, I gotta set myself up for success too. So why don't I go into this? So this is Velvet Leaf. And so this is what that looks like. And I just wanted to show you that what it looks like on my finger. So there's kind of like there's definitely like a shift, but it has like I can't tell what other colors on it. It's almost like a brown green, I want to say. I'm not sure, but we're going to use that as a base layer first. I want to see if it goes on well with this Wayne Goss 19. And what I found with this product from Phytosurgence is you can either use your fingers or a brush. Today I'm trying a brush because I want a lighter application. I found that if you put too much on one's eyelids, that it does tend to crease. And that's just my experience. I have aging eyelids that have hooded eyelids. So, you know, even when I put down the primer on my lids, if I don't set that right away with powder, you can see the crease of the primer. So that's just how my eyelids are. Your eyelids will be different, but I think it's important that, you know, if for folks who do have hooded eyelids, one or two people asked me, and I'm going to tell you truthfully that if you pack it on too much, yes, it will definitely crease. And that's kind of the downside of some cream pots for eyeshadows, that it doesn't work for everybody. And I don't know if it's crease proof, but what I will say is that the lighter washes of color that you add on, the less likely it is going to crease. Okay, so that is just kind of a light layer that I wanted to put down for my look. And I do have a video of this dedicated already, this Blurry Green palette. So I'll link that above. And I'm going to take this kind of brown khaki shade here and use that for my crease. That's pretty. And I think it's good to note that actually you could just use these Phytosurgence cream pots as one and dones. They've been really beautiful by themselves. I've also used them as bases like I'm doing today, and I've also used them in combination of other Phytosurgence cream pots, and they will end up being really pretty. I used these Phytosurgence a lot in the summer. I just gravitate towards cream products more in the summer. It just seems kind of like more of a summer thing. I'm gonna swatch the two greens in here, and they're almost indiscernible about the greens. I can't remember. I think there's like one that's darker and one that's brighter. Yeah, the more you layer it. So this is more of a brighter green. This is like the deeper green has more maybe a brown or black underbase. The shade that's more green, and just kind of use that as another layer over here just to amp up the green color. I'm taking my Sonia G Lotus Builder brush, and then going to take one of my favorite Sonia G brushes of all time. It's the Mini Booster in the Sky series. And by the time this video gets edited, I think Sonia G will have released these again. So if you have hooded eyelids or small space, I would recommend the Sky series, but particularly this brush alone if you wanted to get it. So just using that deeper green up here just to deepen the V area and smoke that area out. taking a rougher 03 brush and then going into that light shade and then using that as my inner corner. It might be okay, but I might grab for something else just because it's, like I said, if you're not familiar with Chanel, I mean, they're pretty classic and basic and just a little bit more understated, which is fine. I'm grabbing this. This is actually part of my project pan, which I'm already starting to do, which is this is my favorite inner corner highlight. The Chantecaille Cheetah Luminescent eye shades. And I mean, I'm already starting. This is the most used and loved out of my Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades. I think I have all of them except for one. I believe I don't have Zebra or Pangolin anymore. One of those purple shades. I just didn't like how it looked on me. So I ended up giving that away or selling. But this inner corner highlight for Cheetah is beautiful. And these are, I feel like these Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades are, people either love them or they don't like them because they're very expensive. And here's a hot tip. I usually don't get my makeup at full price. Almost all of my Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades I've gotten on sale just because I think they're like, I want to say they're like $60 a piece. Way too expensive, way too overpriced. But most of the time you can find Chantecaille on sale. You just have to wait. Taking a soft definer and then going into this brown shade here and just kind of running it down my lower lash just to smoke out that area. Under here, and this is what I mean, just trust the process. It looks really grungy and just a little bit messy. So I'm just taking a 03 brush again, cleaning it off, and then going into that deep shade again. And I just want to use that as a little bit like a liner. Okay, so I'm gonna finish the other eye and clean this up a little bit and I'll be right back. Back with the finished eye look, or partially finished eye look. So this is what I mean by just trusting the process. It was messy here and I actually used just whatever remainder I had on this foundation brush and just kind of swept that up and under. I know I already put my concealer there, but sometimes you want to just clean up after what goes on with a smoky eye. Then I finished with Tom Ford liquid eyeliner and Pat McGrath mascara and then MAC Giga Black on the bottom lashes. I just finished up some of my bronzing and contouring with the Kevyn Aucoin Contour in Deep, which is this color. Matte bronzer that I've been reaching for almost every day is this Victoria Beckham bronzing duo in 03. So it's made for medium tan skin tones. And it's supposed to come with a contouring and bronzing shade, but it still runs warm. So sometimes I just swirl both for the bronzer and use the Kevyn Aucoin for the contour. Show you something that I had ordered before the end of the year, and it's this Laura Mercier blush in Bellini. And I don't have any other Laura Mercier blushes, and so I was really curious to try this. And this is 02 Wayne Goss, and it's just it is a beautiful blush. So it's kind of like this peachy color. It's brighter than the closest I could think of it kind of reminds me of the Tom Ford, those peachy blushes that they came out with last year, those duos that were completely overpriced at $90. And I'll show you, I'll just put it on now. So I mean, it's just this really beautiful peach color. I actually might like this even better than the Tom Ford, those duos, just because it goes on so easily. And I have the foundation I'm using today is very creamy and very dewy. So this is a matte blush, but because of the foundation, it's showing up a little bit of a sheen, which I'm not mad about, but just wanted to show you how beautiful that is. And I think it goes really nicely with the green look that I'm going for today. So that's a new product in my collection. I'm really happy I got this blush. I have never tried Laura Mercier, so actually I don't have any Laura Mercier in my collection. The last time I had any Laura Mercier was the powder, the loose powder, and then that got replaced by my Sisley. But the blushes, at least this one, I'm very impressed with. But if you have any blushes from Laura Mercier that you think I should check out, let me know. But I am in love with this color. And as always, I over blush, but that's okay because I end up buffing it at the end. And I use a Wayne Goss 02 brush. I think it's a squirrel hair brush that's for blush. The other thing I wanted to show you was this new Hermes blush I ordered at the end of the year, and it only came in. This is my second Hermes lipstick. Now, I ended up getting it because I think it's like one of these beautiful kind of everyday rose colors. The other Hermes lipstick that I have is this one. It's limited edition, and it's a different formula. It was limited edition, and it's got a little bit of glitter in it. It's like a hot fuchsia. You see it? That's like a raspberry red, and I love it. This is the lipstick my mom wanted to take out of my collection, and I was like, you can take any of my lipsticks, but not the Hermes because they're so expensive. And I was like, that was the one you can't have. So I wanted more of an everyday because this is not an everyday. That's kind of a Va Va Voom lipstick color. But this is in 21 Rose Epice, Epice. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I'm not fluent in French. But my skin tone, and I've been told to put this on your fingers because maybe it shows it better. I don't know if that's true because I have pigment in my lips. So that's that color. And I want to put it on now so you can see, but I've been grabbing this as kind of like an everyday color because it's just really pretty. And so that is Rose Epice 21. And so I'll get in close. It's just a really pretty color. And I likely have something like this in my collection already, but I just couldn't pinpoint it. But I wanted an everyday, at least for me, kind of a more everyday color at least from Hermes. What I'm remembering from this foundation is that it is really, really dewy and almost too oily for me. So what happens that anything else I put on top of it tends to either oxidize or just like get oily. So even from 10 minutes ago when I laid this makeup, you can see that it's like getting a little bit too shiny for me. And I already did loose powder on this. For the Hummingbird blurring powder and the BK 105, which is my staple, I've project panned that already. That's gonna be panned already. And just taking this to tamp down the oil and the over blushing and bronzing I did. And I'm going in pretty heavy-handed because what's going to happen, like even like 2-3 hours from now, it's going to get oily again. But that doesn't stop me from using this foundation because I just think it's so beautiful. It reminds me a lot of that new Clé de Peau foundation I just got, which a viewer kindly told me that I did not end up getting the new reformulation of that Clé de Peau foundation. It's actually the one that's only currently available stateside. It's still a wonderful formula, but it's not the reformulation. I'm gonna get in close so you can see just how everything's wearing. And I'll do another video of 3 other products that I want to show you, but I don't have time to actually test out. So thanks for watching. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so and commenting below and liking it. It helps my channel out a ton. And ring the notification bell as I try to upload 2 to 3 times a week. As always, please be very kind to yourself and others and just be you. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.